3 seconds. That's all it took for my life to change forever. One moment, I was living life like any other teenager. The next, oh man, everything just changed. Doctors told me I would never walk again, and my future would suddenly look something that I never imagined of. And if I'm being honest, there were moments when I just didn't know if I was going to be able to keep moving forward. But this isn't a story about what I lost. It's a story about what I found, because today I'm an athlete, a content creator, a person who has ambition, drive, and discipline, and someone who's learned that a wheelchair doesn't define a person. This is my story, the story of how I became paralyzed that didn't end my life, but it gave me a reason to just keep on fighting. Before my injury, life felt normal. I had plans, dreams, goals, just like everyone else. The future seemed unlimited. Then one day, everything changed. In an instant, I suffered a spinal cord injury that left me paralyzed from my belly button down. I was working, trying to make money, and doing what I was told to do by my parents. I remember the confusion, the fear, the uncertainty of what just happened to me. I remember hearing the words from the doctor that you will never be able to walk again. I never wanted to hear that. At that moment, my entire world just stopped. Not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. I didn't know what to do next. I didn't know what my future looked like, or honestly, what I wanted to do anymore. That was so terrifying. People see the wheelchair and they think I'm living life, but what they don't see are the battles that happen behind closed doors, the frustration, the anger that I have, the sadness, the endless questions that I ask. Why me? What now? Will life ever be normal again? Learning how to live after paralysis wasn't about adapting. It was about learning how to rebuild my identity. Every single task that I did was a challenge. Things I used to take for granted suddenly required effort, patience, determination, and the willingness to fail over and over again, but keep trying. There was days that I just wanted to quit, days I felt defeated, days I wondered if this was ever gonna get better. But somehow, I just kept going and pushing forward. Eventually, something had to change. I realized I had to make two choices. I could spend the rest of my life focusing on what I lost, or I could focus on what I still have. That's when I actually found strength training again, and that I actually could do the strength training, and that changed everything. For the first time since my injury, I felt powerful again, not because of how much weight I could lift, but because every workout reminded me that I was still capable, that I could still grow, that I could still improve, and I could still keep fighting. The gym became more than just a place to train. It became therapy. It became a proving ground, a place where I learned that limitations are often much smaller than what we think. Being in a wheelchair sucks at times. It does. Most people would probably be just satisfied just by getting stronger, but I wanted more. I became obsessed with pushing my limits, with seeing what was possible, with finding out how strong I actually could really become. So I started powerlifting, I started doing strongman, and then I felt the love with the bench press. Every pound added to the bar became proof to my story that it wasn't over. Every competition became another opportunity to challenge myself. Every setback became fuel. The goal wasn't just to lift heavier weights. The goal was becoming stronger than the person I used to be or I was before. And oftentimes, the numbers just kept growing. The confidence just kept growing in me too. And also my belief in what was possible. But lifting weights just wasn't enough at one point. I wanted to share the journey, my story. I wanted people to see what life actually was living with paralysis. Not the version people assume, the real version, the struggles, the victories that I actually have, and the challenges that I face every day. So I actually picked up the camera and I started telling my story. At first, hardly anyone watched, but I kept posting, I kept learning, and I kept improving on my videoing and what actually to say to people. Because actually, if my story could help someone and make them refuse to quit, it would be worth everything. Now thousands of people actually follow me and my journey, not because of my life is perfect, but because it's real, and I show them how actually struggles are every day, and you fight to keep on going forward no matter what your situation is. It might suck, but you have to keep moving forward. Listen, if there's one thing I've learned from paralysis, it's life doesn't always go according to plan. Sometimes everything changes. Sometimes your future gets rewritten, and sometimes you're forced into battle you never asked for. But being knocked down isn't the end. Staying down is. The wheelchair changed my life, but it didn't take away my purpose and my drive. It didn't take away the ability to keep on dreaming. It didn't take away the ability to work hard every day. And it definitely didn't take away the ability to fight. Today, I'm still chasing bigger goals, still pushing heavier weight, still building, and still growing. And I'm still learning what actually is possible. Not because I'm special, but because I refuse to let my circumstances decide my future. If you're going through something difficult right now, remember this. The setbacks does not define who you are. The struggles do not define what you're capable of, but your circumstances do define you. What defines you is what you do next. I'm Joshua Rucker. I'm paralyzed from my belly button down. I'm not powerless, and my journey is just getting started. If you enjoyed this video, hit that subscribe button, leave a comment below, and join me on this journey to proving limits are unstoppable, and you can do anything you actually want to. Thank you guys so much for all your support, and I'll see you guys in the next video.